Congresswoman, that TikTok trend, I don't even know where to begin. I'm not sure why this is necessary. I mean, there is like serious stuff happening in this country, but that seems to be just inviting ridicule.
Shame.
So when you think about TikTok as a trend, we are trying to reach out to different people and different voters. And the woman who produced this is an influencer with 7 million followers. So this is lighthearted, it's fun. And every time you do something creative, you're going to get criticism, right? But I actually applaud them for trying to do something different. And here's the reality. 7 million followers, whether you think it's cringe or you like it, we're on CNN on a Thursday night, and we're talking about it on national TV.
But I guess my question is, to what end? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I mean, maybe you will get 7 million eyeballs, but what is the point?
I am not accustomed to helping your party do anything.
Yep.
But let me give you some advice. This was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And if you read the comments today, Lord have mercy. Look, scrambling for new social media and communication strategies is not a replacement for fixing what's actually wrong. Your party has a 21% approval rating right now, congressional Democrats.
Well, let's talk about fixing what's wrong. Donald Trump.
Boy. Here we go.
Yeah, not addressing the issue. Let's talk about Donald Trump. You're following the same strategy. You don't even understand why your messaging isn't resonating, even with your own people, when your own allies are like, I'm laughing at you, not in public, but I still disagree with you. But let's talk about Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is doing nothing for the American people.
And he has a 50% approval rating.
But he's doing nothing for the American people.
And so
he's not lowering the cost of living.
Advice
he tells lies.
Fix the policy and leave the gimmicks behind.
Yes, and let's fix policy.
Okay, well, let me finish
here.
Let the Congresswoman
absolutely.
respond to that, because I think the underlying, what Scott is saying, is this question of the party itself has a trust issue with its own voters, frankly.
Right.
So what is being done about that?
So as we look at trust issues with the Democratic Party, there are a lot of things happening. Remember, the Democratic Party is a very large tent with diverse people. We have people saying, do something. We have some people saying, you've gone too far. We have to stay focused on what is important right now to the American people. President Trump promised to lower the cost of living. He has done none of that. And the Trump administration and Elon Musk are demonstrating one thing with all these random cuts. They don't care if you get sick. They don't care if you get injured. They don't care if you can't pay your bills, and they don't care if you're safe. All these random cuts they're making in all these departments that they don't even hardly know very well are hurting the American people.
I never understood people that say the cost of living is not getting fixed, but at the same time, they are the people that usually subsidize people that can't handle the current cost of living.
Help me, I'm poor.
But the thing is, by helping those people that can't survive without subsidies, the cost of living is going to go up.
How is putting veterans out of work lowering the cost of living? How is taking away food from children lowering the cost of living? How is kicking women off of health care who get Medicaid lowering the cost of living? So I know that these things are distractions that we're talking about, but why won't Donald Trump deliver on his promises? Because he lies. That's why. They're doing nothing to support the American people.
Why would or should the American people trust Democrats to lower the cost of living after the last 4 years?
We have created more jobs.
No, cost of living. You brought it up. You said Trump's not delivering. I just want to know why we should trust Democrats who skyrocketed inflation. Why would I trust you?
I don't think it's
why would I
about,
trust you?
I don't think it's about, you all won.
Yeah.
So now fix it. You said you were going to fix it.
We're doing it for 40 days.
Okay, right.
And that is what Trump is doing. He's trying to fix the thing, but Democrat wants a fix immediately. I'm like, yo, you guys always tell me that I need to wait, trust the science. Why can't you trust the president? It's only 40 freaking days. Mengadelo, remember to subscribe.
Right.
But you're trying to take a victory lap for the CHIPS and Science Act, for all these investments coming into the United States. So you're going to take credit or not. Donald Trump is a president. He promised a lower cost of living. He is cutting jobs across the board from civil servants who have to support their families.
So you believe in government jobs? You want more government jobs?
No, actually, I want jobs that actually help people. Do you know what civil servants do? They keep our air clean. They keep our water clean. They keep our food safe. Don't interrupt me.
They take taxpayer money to
You know
fund
what?
the whole thing?
They also pay taxes.
Yes.
Wait, you're saying they take
It takes taxpayer money to fund it.
Yep. It does. But they're employed by
This
the
is the
government.
Democratic
And
plan.
they are
More
employed.
government
They are
jobs.
jobs for the American people, and they're not getting rich off.
I'm a pattern recognition expert. Of course, somebody needs to fund it. Somebody, come on, you don't see that?
I'm blind. 34 felony counts or 34 felony convictions, and they still elected him president. It's not about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens.
That might be a half win, but it's still a win compared to what you're offering, because that's clearly a loss. And guess what? He will go now to a convicted felon to buy his tweaks. I don't understand how they can talk like that when the middle class is the only one that can exist to maintain everything.
Oh, yeah, I need some of that.
Yes, Donald Trump and the Republicans won.
Yeah.
But the Democrats severely lost. And you're digging your hole
But
deeper,
you're saying
especially in a
severely?
week. Especially in a week after the debacle of what happened during the president's speech, the embarrassment. I don't know who's creating this strategy, but believe me, no one is getting on board. The Democrats have lost. I would argue the Democrats are far more exclusionary. If you don't agree with them, you're canceled. If you say something inappropriate, you're out. And there's never a coming back in. The Democrats have told the American people, you agree with us, or we don't want you.
For their money these days.
Immediately, change the topic. Cancel, ban. Commercial.
Back to Trump in this regard, we just saw it. The world just saw. It wasn't a press conference or anything like that. I don't call it that. Him with Ukrainian President Zelensky and how he went at him and what have you. Now, Zelensky, if I remember correctly, you didn't speak too highly of him. I want to make sure I'm quoting you accurately. You called him a homosexual actor. Is that true? Did you call him that?
I also just called him the neighborhood crackhead, kind of just goes around asking for money. I've called him a welfare queen, ghetto.
I've called white woman Latina. I've called a black man Russian. It's all about the characteristic. My son even told me once, you're not black, you're burnt caramel.
This is the thing. The media kind of had me depicted throughout BLM as this person that uses these words to describe black people. I'm like, no. Let's be very clear. When I'm calling somebody like Zelensky a welfare queen, there's a reason for that. You come here with your hand out, asking, making demands. It's funny because I was having a discussion with my husband about this. And, it's people that tend to need the most that make these sorts of demands. And they're so arrogant. He's taken billions away, unaccounted billions, by the way. So you and I have to get to work because Zelensky wants his borders protected, and we can't have our borders protected because that would be a racist thing to ask for.
Yeah, that's an odd thing that you can say these days.
But he's allowed to demand that you and I get to work. He spent all the billions. His wife is shopping in Paris. The oligarchs in Ukraine are all buying yachts.
And he can ask for a European army while still not belonging to NATO yet. I'm like, who's going to fight? My sons? And if they don't want to, just in Ukraine, you're going to force them? And then you're going to tell me you represent democracy.
And yeah, I have absolutely no respect for him, but I want to say I have not respected that man since day one. This is not something that's new. I just saw him coming.
It's not something that's new, but what about Trump and Vance and how they conducted themselves? You and I might disagree on this particular issue because I don't disagree with what you're saying in terms of, I was on the record saying, listen, you're coming with your hand out. You need money. You might not want to be confrontational. You might want to be a bit more diplomatic, Zelensky, because you're the one that's in need. And Trump wasn't wrong when he said, or you don't have any of the cards. You don't have any of the cards. The flip side to it, however, is that the press conference, you're in the Oval Office. We know this is the White House. This isn't someplace in Ukraine. And he's got broken English, and you got the vice president interrupting him. You got them, I thought, somewhat bullying him to some degree. I just didn't think it was necessary. It was a good look. That's where I'm coming from. Am I wrong in feeling that way?
No, I think you're perfectly, these are your feelings. They're valid, right? If that's how you felt. For me, I felt it was refreshing. I'm so tired of politics. I know they always button it up for us. They're constantly telling us, this, and saying things that sound good but don't actually result in good things.
The Oval Office was perfect because it was transparent. I also enjoyed as a kid when I saw I did something bad when my father went to speak to my teacher and I could see them speak. It feels way different when they just speak and father comes with an answer. But instead of your grades, they're talking about your taxes.
But I really felt good about it.
And I think it was sort of the frustration of how much he has taken from America to not come with some respect. And I likened it to, even when you go to your granddad's house and it's your birthday, your mom kind of makes you wear something special. You know he's going to give you a card and slip some cash in there, $100. Granddad's always good for that. And you just come with some decorum and some respect. This dude has been wearing military fatigues for like 5 years now, okay? Put on a suit. As soon as he gets out of the car, Trump's like, well, he's dressed up. This should let you know, this should signal to the public that what he's doing is an act. Why? Give me a scenario, a reason why he can't put on a suit. Even if you're in the midst of a war, why can't you put on a suit when you're coming to ask for money? Well, because he wants people to see him as a guy that's downtrodden in the trenches. And he's not that. This guy has been on the cover of Vanity Fair. He's been on the cover of Vogue. He's been on the cover of Forbes. He's doing photo shoots. He did a 3-hour podcast with Lex Friedman. He asked and was declined a spot to go to the Oscars a couple of years ago. And so this is making a mockery. It's just making a...
She got them good with those. You can put a suit on if you can go to a podcast for 3 hours. I mean, I don't want to laugh, but I think you do get my point.
Put on a suit.
See,
you know?
this is why people got to be careful about messing with you, because I was getting ready to disagree with you until you threw out those last things. I didn't know he tried to go to the Oscars.
You're welcome.
I didn't know he tried to be on the cover of Vogue. I didn't know that stuff, Candace. I honestly didn't know. Okay, that does change it a little bit.
And he is a literal actor, by the way. You know that, right?
That I know.
I didn't expect that face of Candace. That made me laugh a little more behind the screen than I thought. I love my channel.
Well, I will say this, though, any sympathy for the fact that Russia did attack his nation? I mean, that there is some sympathy for that, right? We see the rubble. We see the catastrophe that is Ukraine. We see Putin bombing them, for crying out loud. We've seen that happen, right?
Yeah, so the thing for me is, and the reason why I say that I've had this opinion since the very beginning, is I don't rely on politicians. I think all politicians lie. And so I was reading the transcripts leading up to this moment of Putin's speeches and Biden's speeches and trying to discern what the truth was. And Putin was saying, you guys gave us assurances that NATO was not going to expand 1 inch eastward into our territory. Essentially, NATO is a military.
Yes, I've always said that.
We were putting a military on his border, despite in 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, as a condition, an agreement for them to agree to take down the Berlin Wall. We promised, and you can go look at this in NSA declassified documents. James Baker was the Secretary of State at that time.
Yes, he was.
We promised them that we would never move NATO eastward. So you have to imagine the memory that they have, and they're going, why are you now doing that? Now all of a sudden we're saying that Ukraine is going to join NATO, and he's saying this is unacceptable. America can't keep changing its mind. And so when I was able to validate what he said and to read the speeches, you cannot walk away from that without an understanding that we are the aggressors. Everything that we say Russia is doing, recreating the Soviet Union, we are doing that. What is the European Union? What is NATO? And we've been getting away from it for too long under this guise of, quote unquote, spreading democracy. So I fundamentally disagreed with what I saw as Western propaganda trying to paint Putin as a monster for holding us to our promises and not telling the public that. He just randomly woke up one day and just said, I want to do hood rat stuff with my friends. And he went into Ukraine. That's a fairy tale. That's not what happened. And not beyond that, like you saw when he sat down with Tucker Carlson, he asked to join NATO himself. Why are we not having a productive relationship with Russia? I call that Cold War hangover. People that grew up under their desks afraid of a nuclear bomb can never see Russia outside of being villainous. And quite frankly, I think Zelensky he suspended elections. He's locked down churches. He's locked up nuns. I'm a Christian. I don't like this guy at all.
It's very simple. I can be empathetic when people are suffering, but I don't like people that promise one thing and they do something else and then blame the other person for the thing that they are doing. That's gaslighting.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Durlo que ta verde ta welcome.